Hello friends! So in this video we are going to dive in a topic that's very close to my heart, and it's called How to Grow Through Your Emotions with Presence. I'm especially referring to the emotions that we oftentimes don't want to experience, such as sadness and burnout and all of those bad emotions, as we say, or negative emotions. So today I will be sharing one of my personal stories that happened fairly recently, how I navigated those challenging days in my life. I encourage you to get comfortable, take a deep breath with me, and grab yourself a cup of tea or coffee, and let's begin. We all love to experience love, happiness, and joy, but what do we do when unexpected negative feelings creep up on us, and how do we deal with that? So, my friend, let me tell you my story. So, for 8 weeks, my schedule was packed. Every weekend, I was somewhere. For an introvert who fills their batteries mostly at home, that was very, very challenging for me. I was always rushing from one commitment to another, and you could say that I had a choice, but I also didn't. At that time, I had a course that consumed all my weekends, so I wasn't really home and I didn't really have time to rest and take a breath. Don't get me wrong, I loved the course. I absolutely loved it. But it was really difficult for me to find time for myself with all of these commitments. When I did find some time for myself, I literally tried to use every self-care technique I know to prevent burnout. Yes, but there is only so much we can do to prevent the inevitable. And after almost 8 to 9 weeks of this, some other things, after my course ended in 4 weeks, and then I had to travel to all sorts of places for my university with my choir that I sing in. And then came week number 9. I was in a field class with my university that I had to go to, and this day came up, and I wake up and I feel so heavy. My arms and legs are so heavy, and I just feel drained, and I was done. I was so done. And then I remembered the schedule for the day. We are going to go and climb a mountain with our colleagues and professors. Yes, that's kind of brutal, but yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, I am not physically, mentally, or emotionally prepared. I cannot do this anymore, but I had to. And so we came to the base of the mountain, and they said that it would be an hour and a half climb. And you can imagine how I was feeling inside. I was tired emotionally, physically, and mentally, but I had to do it. And I didn't have time to take time for myself in that sort of an environment. So here's what I did. The climbing began. I was just trying to feel my steps one step at a time. And then I thought, well, eventually I will get to the top and go down. I just need to survive this, because this was our last day. So if I survive this and I come home and it's the end of all obligations, commitments, and I just knew that I would have the next weekend to myself. So the climbing was really, really difficult. The slope was, the percentage was, I don't know, really high. And as it got difficult, I started to feel all of the emotions from these past few weeks creep up on me and coming to the surface. I didn't really have time to really have time for myself and to process my emotions. And while I was climbing and I was all alone with my thoughts, I felt a sudden surge of emotions from all of these past 9 weeks. I could just feel all the emotions coming to the surface. My eyes got teary because I was becoming so overwhelmed with stress and with everything. And I just allowed myself to feel that. I was going step by step by step. It was insanely difficult. My whole body was tired and I just had to keep climbing. My eyes got teary, but I continued. I didn't really speak with anyone because when I feel stressed and overwhelmed and emotional, that oftentimes shows in a form of me not being able to speak as clearly. If that happens, that makes me feel even worse. So I just kept to myself and I continued walking. And at that moment, I allowed myself to experience and feel all these emotions and let them pass through me because I know that the only way out is through. Suddenly, a sudden brush of strong wind goes to my face and I look up and I see that I'm at the top. I looked all around me and it was one of the most beautiful sights I have ever seen. And I was so proud that I reached the top. We rested on the mountain and I was already feeling much better. And then it came time to descend. During my descent, I was still feeling the residue of emotional overwhelm. I allowed whatever is left to pass. After an hour of descent, I was down. I conquered the mountain while feeling so overwhelmed. And I was so proud of myself. And I realized that everything I was feeling was left on the mountain. Don't get me wrong, I was still feeling really tired, but the frustration, sadness, and overwhelm were not present. Let me tell you why I shared this story with you. I shared this story because I wanted to emphasize how important it is to respect your own boundaries. If you don't overdo your schedule and have enough time for yourself and learn from my example. Before we conclude, I just wanted to address you directly. Why? So take a moment to really appreciate yourself and the courage it takes you to be here in this space. I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to share my story with you. Thank you so much for sticking till the end of my rambling. Stay blessed, stay safe, and hopefully, my friend, we will cross paths again. Thank you so much.